At this point, I'm like really desperate, feeling really down, needing answers to life, not getting them. So I decided to book a one-way ticket to France. I booked 1 month Airbnb to stay in this city. When I got in, immediately I knew that something was wrong, physically. So at some point, I hear a loud noise. And then I find myself popping out of my body. I'm like rising up, until I hit a certain threshold. In this dimension, I started to see my life review. Everything that happened in my life, from the moment of conception till the moment that I died. My name is Van NG Tran, and this is my first time telling my NDE story. I had a near-death experience that happened in the city of Reims, France, 2022. So a little bit about myself. I was born in Hanoi, Vietnam. I was raised in the Czech Republic. And then at the age of about 26, I started doing a lot of traveling. So I ended up living in Singapore for 6 years. And then after that, I went to Indonesia for a year. And then I went back to Europe. And that's when, I kind of found myself in France. And then the NDE happened. So 2022, that was like a year after the pandemic. And I just came back home to Europe from Asia, living in Asia for like 7 years in total. And at that time, I had many questions about my life, Somehow I still managed to like go to school, have a career and all of that. But the main thing that I had was I had so many questions starting with why. Like a lot of like looking into the past, asking questions, wanting to, let's say, heal from certain things that happened. So I found myself in Basel. So in Basel, I went to see one of the spiritual teachers that I've been following for a long time. And that was kind of the last resort, really, because I was seeking so many answers and I just thought that this person might have the answers for me. And that was a bit disappointing for me because there were no answers. I mean, it was just sort of a generic thing for everyone. So I didn't really have a sort of a personal session, didn't get any answers for my specific case. So I just thought to myself, like, okay, what's next? And at this point, I'm like really desperate, pretty much like feeling really down, needing answers to life, not getting them. So I decided to book a one-way ticket to France. So this is Reims, a city which is like 4 hours drive from Basel. And so yeah, I booked 1 month Airbnb to stay in this city. And so I did that. I went to Reims, France. So when I arrived in this Airbnb, it was like a self check-in. So there was no one greeting me at the door. Yeah, I just had the code. So it's like front door, punch in the code, getting in, going to, I don't know, 3rd, 4th floor, finding my room, punch in the code, getting in. And at that time, that was exactly what I wanted. Like, I didn't want to meet anyone. I didn't want to see anyone. And like, no one knew where I was, actually. So my parents at that point already knew my personality and also, sort of what happened after I left home. So they were really careful to like not push me too much to talk about where I am, where I'm staying, who I'm with. And at that time, I also didn't want to let them know where I was. So my parents didn't know where I was. My inner circle didn't know where I was. There was one person that I met in Basel that ended up being the emergency contact, like the only emergency contact that I had at the time. At the beginning, I didn't want to let him know, but then eventually I kind of at least told him the location. So yeah, that was sort of the only emergency contact that I had at that time. So that's pretty scary, right? It's like, I've never been to Rhymes, never been to Friends. So I just arrived and not wanting to meet anyone, to do anything. So when I arrived into the apartment, I had like one big luggage. I had a half-eaten sandwich from the road, and that was it. And the apartment was like a studio. So just like one queen-size bed, a kitchen, shower, and that was it. And it was white, like just totally minimal. And I remember coming in and I just felt like I don't feel alive here. But it was not because of the apartment or the city. I'm sure it's very lovely. But it was more of my internal state. Like, how did I get to that point to be isolated completely from everyone? So when I got in, immediately I knew that something was wrong physically. So if I had any grip in my muscles, there was none. I mean, it felt like I was a vegetable, pretty much. Like zero energy. Muscles were extremely weak. And then I had all the symptoms of COVID-19. So it was very hard to breathe. My airway, so from the lungs to the chest, the throat, the mouth, the nose, breathing in, breathing out, it was very difficult. It was also very painful. So immediately I lay down. I remember having my phone next to me and sending the last WhatsApp messages to this emergency contact, this person that was so kind to even care about like, are you okay? Where are you? What's going on? And yeah, I just told him like, oh, I'm in Rhymes, but that was it. So, I just sent the last messages on WhatsApp. And I remember just shutting down Wi-Fi, close the phone, throw it next to me, closing my eyes and drift away. So at some point, I hear a loud noise. And then I find myself popping out of my body. It's like a release of pressure. And it feels really good. Like it feels amazing to not be in the pain body. I mean, especially when just a while ago I was in my physical body, which has COVID. And now I'm out of it and there's no pain. There's absolutely no pain. As I pop out of my body, I am still here in the third dimension. And I find myself in this sleeping position, rising up. So rise up, rising up, rising up, rising up. So still in the third dimension, like here on Earth, I could see myself on the bed, basically, laying like a dead woman, pretty much. But I could see the inside of myself. It's a little bit like X-ray, but not in the sense of like the result of the X-ray, like the black and white. Like it was like 3D X-ray. I could see my organs. I could see everything inside. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but what I saw, I mean, intuitively, I just knew like this is not all right. I mean, I saw my lungs, I saw my airway, I saw, the breathing tube. Everything was inflamed, red. It was even like my organs were enlarged. I just knew that this is not okay. that at any moment I might have to either come back to my body and fight for my life or exit completely. I find myself rising up until I hit a certain threshold where more information is being revealed to me. When it happened, I had no sort of mental commentary. I was not trying to make sense of, oh, this is a dimension, or like this was happening to me. It was just what it was. So more information was opening up to me, but I was still here in the third dimension. So it was as though the third dimension and now the fourth dimension was stacked on top of it. So in this dimension, I started to see my life review. Everything that happened in my life, from the moment of conception till the moment that I died. And it was like flipping through pages of a book. So I could go forward, I can go backwards. And the interesting thing was, there were particular memories that would like shine more than others. And I think that was a way to kind of tell me, maybe you should look into this. And whatever I focus on, there I was. And this is throughout the entire NDE, exactly that. Whatever I focused on, there I was. As I was reliving these moments, honestly, I was having a hard time. Because, yeah, I was kind of, I had this thought of like I don't want, like I know what happened. Now I'm reliving what happened, and I just don't like it. It was almost like I wanted to like look away. I don't want to reliving these experiences, basically. Then with this live review, feeling down, feeling at times like pretty sad and, like a little bit of pain. Again, I find myself in this position, rising up again. So again, I hit a certain threshold and more information opens up to me. So this time it is the fifth dimension. And again, I'm still in the third dimension. Third, and then the fourth is on top of it, and then the fifth is on top of it. So if in the fourth dimension, I saw my life review. Here it was like I could look at any moment in my life and see the branches, like next branches of what would happen if I would have made a different decision, if I would have chosen a different choice. And that was very interesting because it wasn't as though I had like one timeline, second timeline, third timeline. Like, okay, Van is a doctor, Van is a technologist, Van is a, I don't know, superstar. No, like this was very detailed, and every moment had its own sort of branch where I could see just more. And like it's like I zoom into another branch, I would see again more possibilities. So here is, I was very impressed because that I've never seen anything like that before. And just imagine the computation level of this thing. It's really amazing. So I was really in awe to see this. At the same time, also, a little bit afraid, I would say, because I didn't want to find out the version of me that would be, super successful, that would achieve everything that I ever wanted. I didn't want to see that, honestly. At this point, I'm like, okay, I feel scared. I was also a bit sad from the life review and all of that. And I just told myself, well, you have to surrender, pretty much, like surrender, and see what comes next. So again, I'm in this position and I'm like rising up. More information opens up to me. So the beginning of my NDE, the third, the fourth, the fifth, it was more of a tunnel. So the curvature is, so a tunnel is like a dome which it's closed. Now in the sixth dimension, that tunnel opens up into a dome. So it's like half open. And now I have access to so much more information in the sixth dimension. And I've never experienced anything like that. This was the magic. This is a place where I cannot lie to myself. Everything is just as is. Here I saw me for the soul that I am. So all of my qualities, it was shining like light, like bright light. But here's the thing. Not only I saw myself, I saw everyone else. And with their own individual uniqueness, shining bright with their qualities. Not only the qualities, but also what they wanted. So my qualities as a soul, but also what I wanted to achieve in this life, what kind of experiences I wanted to have in this life. And everyone else too, like every soul had desires. At the same time, I saw that who I am, my strengths, my weaknesses, and what I want to achieve in this life was connected to others. So I saw me, I saw my family, I saw my inner circle, I saw the people that I met, and then each person also had their own, family, inner circle, the people they met. And it was like a mesh. It was like a mesh, like, and then just meshing all together, but in a very intelligent way. It was like this, like ever-moving thing that took into consideration everyone, who they are, what they want. At that point, in the sixth dimension, any question that I had was answered, even the question that I didn't think I have. Because I had this feeling of being free, like truly free, because I had full clarity. And so I was like really like enjoying this place, it was really beautiful, really loving, caring, intelligent, and very much the opposite of my previous experience. Well, now I have a different perspective, but yeah, like previously living on Earth, it was nothing like that. So here it was really eye-opening for me. And so I think as I had this like incredible relief almost, like I just felt free, like my shoulders were free. A portal opens up to me. And I just knew, okay, if I step in, I will have a particular experience. And so I did. As I step in, there would be scenes being shown to me. So one of the scenes was this. So I find myself inside a vehicle. And I could see, so I'm inside the vehicle, and I could see that this is a sphere. And it was very humble, very simple. Just right to my right, there's a bed, a single bed. If I look back, there's a shower. I look forward, there's a workstation. I look to the left, there's a window. And immediately I got it that I am in a spaceship, a vehicle, a spheric vehicle, but I was inside of it. And it was very quiet, very peaceful. At that time, I didn't even try to make any sense out of this, because in 2022, this was like as alien as it gets to me. I've never seen Star Wars. Okay, so this kind of experience, it was like, this is totally left field for me. That's what I thought. But also, I had this feeling of, I can get used to this. Because it felt like home, as though this would be my home. Like it felt homey. It was like, this would be my home. And I really thought to myself, like, I can get used to this. So that was one thought. And then the second thought was, this is very doable. So even though for me personally, for Van, at that time, like, I know nothing about space. Zero. Not like at all. But I was telling to myself, this is very doable. Because, I don't know, like, it didn't feel like, oh, there's an alien spaceship, alien technology, any of that. It just felt like this is something that we would achieve in our lifetime. So those were the two thoughts that I had. But in general, it was very peaceful, very quiet. And yeah, I actually really, really enjoyed whatever was shown to me. The next scene, another scene, is I would have landed on Earth. It was very beautiful, very, very peaceful. It was like spring weather. Spring weather, not too hot, not too cold. You know, if I look to the left, I see a river or a small stream. So I loved it. I was like, oh, river, water, life. And then I look to the right, that's the vehicle. And then I look down at my feet and I see green grass. And then I could hear the birds chirping. And at that point, I just took a breath, deep breath, and I told myself, this is the most peaceful experience I've ever had in my entire existence. And as I had that thought, I find myself tunneling back into my body, into my physical body, and waking up. So here I am in my body, waking up. The contrast was insane, you know. It's like coming from that place of no physical pain, all of these magical things happened to me, and then going back to the pain body, to the physical body, to the COVID body. It was still very painful. But I knew that the worst was over and that I would recover very fast. And so I did. So I wake up, I open my eyes, I look out the window. It was dark. Everything was dark. There were no street lights yet. So at that time it was 5 p.m. So I wake up, I'm like, God, it's dark. But I'm back. So the next day, I managed to get out of the apartment for the first time, go to the grocery store, which was like 5 minutes walk from that place. And then the day after, I was able to even go to the center of the city, Rhymes, for the first time. It's one of those like miracle recovery. It's like, oh, I was just there, like, like my muscles were not working at all, and now I can walk. I can walk, go to the grocery store, go to the city and see what the city is all about. Like I said, I booked 1 month Airbnb there. I ended up staying there for 6 days. So on the 5th day, I contacted the emergency contact, and then I decided to go back to Basel. So the next day, on the 6th day, I went back to Basel, and I kept the story with me, and since then I have not shared that with anyone. This NDE changed my life for sure. It answered all the questions that I had, and even the questions that I didn't think I had. It also showed me the future, but not only my little selfish future, it was our collective future. And I have to tell you that coming back, it took me like, years to somehow like finish my previous life, let's say that. And at some point I was still, feeling like all kind of negative feelings too. It's not like, after NDE, like everything is like rainbows and sunshine. Like you still go through things, you still have things to finish. But life is really here. It's not over there, though it is very magical. It's very intelligent. It's very beautiful. It's ever loving. But here is where we make it come true. And all the things that I was shown, and it is a little bit hard for me to share all of it. But what was shown to me, I really believe that would happen in my lifetime and in your lifetime, in all of our lifetime. So, and it's nothing like the life on Earth as we see right now. And I have no clue, like, how do I participate in making this come true? And I've asked myself too, is this my responsibility? Is this your responsibility? Is it like, whose responsibility is this? Because it seems so far, but yet so close. So I personally, this is what I'm doing. I share what I can share in the best way that I can. But I really think that life is here, and whatever it is that we want to achieve collectively, we have to make it come true by taking the actions towards that and really living here in the third dimension on Earth.